All right, I greet you in love. I greet you in peace. I greet you in understanding. And I greet you in understanding and overstanding and all around standing. Anyway, grand rising to everybody. Grand rising, grand rising. I don't know when you're seeing this, but grand rising, because when I'm actually recording this, it's like real early in the morning. So anyway, grand rising to everybody though, and I love you. Thank you for checking this out. Um, just a couple of things that I wanted to talk about, just coming from um, the spiritual standpoint. Um, First of all, be gentle to yourself. You must show yourself grace and mercy. First, show yourself grace. Be graceful. You know, when you think of grace, what do you think of? And whatever it is that you think of when you think of grace. And usually when you think of grace, it's something that's gentle or kind or whatever, right? So be graceful, or when you think of like a ballerina or something like that, right? Well, be graceful to yourself first. Show yourself grace. Show yourself mercy. Show yourself understanding. Show yourself love. Show yourself those things first. Because once you are able to do that for yourself, then it's very easy to do it for others. Right? See, we don't have to fall into the usual or into the same paradigm, because in the spirit, right? In the spirit, we can do whatever it is we want to do on the spiritual level, meaning that everything is determined by your level of consciousness. And so outside of your consciousness, everything outside of your consciousness is trying to control you in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So that's why you want to become enlightened, right? Or woke. That's the bad word. The president don't like that word. But so you could become woke. And that's why they don't want you to be educated. That's why they don't want you to be woke. That's why, they don't want you to know any of that stuff, because as the more enlightened you become, the less able you are to control. Because right, once you get the quote unquote knowledge of good and evil or whatever it is, then then you'll become as one of us, So anyway, but people don't believe that they have that same power, and you do. So the stuff that you're saying, the stuff that you're speaking, and all of that stuff, and that's why I say any book that you cling to, you have to be careful of that book, because you have to know the origins of the book. You have to know how it came about and who wrote it, how they wrote it, where they wrote it, all that kind of stuff. And unless you really studied all that stuff, you're just saying and repeating somebody else's incantations or somebody else's, you're just repetitiously repeating their stuff. And it's not really coming from where? It's not coming from your heart. It's not coming from your soul. It's not coming from the inside of you. All you're doing is repeating somebody else's stuff, and that's how you get that consciousness. But we have to realize that things have evolved over time. So we have all these different levels of consciousness. Well, where do they come from? So then we talk about the different consciousness, like Like there's a Krishna consciousness. There is every single religion or whatever, there is a level of enlightenment or consciousness that they're trying to get to, right? And it's all based, but it's all based on the same system. Why? Because we're all humans, like we're all people, whatever. So it worked, and that's why I keep telling people, like they'll say this, that, or the other thing, but if you go and you study the Tibetan system, and and read Autobiography of a Yogi. I got to plug that in there for my sister, because she tells everybody to read that book, and that is so just like you should read that book. Anyway, it'll help you with your spiritual development. But the thing about it is, when you become spiritual, then you don't need a whole lot of things. That's why we keep saying, just like they try to sell you on certain doctrines that are in there, and yes, they're in there, but they're not for you to have a consciousness of. And so the main consciousness that they sell you is what? It's the consciousness of sin. So, or fear. That's how come everybody is so easily controlled by fear and by sin and jealousy, envy, all of those negative emotions. People are or negative spirits, I should say, is what they're controlled by. And so all I have to do is put out that, whatever to trigger that negative emotion, and boom, I got you. Because that's your consciousness. That's the consciousness that you have. I give you a sin, fear, grief, all of those things. That's your consciousness. And then everything that I'm doing, I'm trying to protect myself or shield myself from those things happening to me, because now I want somebody outside of me to save me from those things, that's the next step. And any system that comes up, the next step is what? Okay, so now I have control of your consciousness. And so all we do is, in our system of spirituality, is that, or the way that I have studied and the way that I believe, and this is just for me, is that because there's different versions of Mayat, the 41 negative confessions, but there are also 41 principles. So there are 82 total, and then there are seven additional principles. All right. So when you look at it like that and see that, and the reason why I'm saying that is so you can look this up. But in my opinion, all of those things combined are the Christ consciousness, because those things, if you say those things every day, then you don't have to worry about being a bad person. And it has nothing to do with race, creed, color, religion, nothing like that. But if you go into that system, and the Tibetan system is pretty much exactly the same. And so in antiquity, what they did was they got rid of those systems, and they made up their own system. And so the thing about it is, so why use a system that really doesn't work? And that's why I always use like 12-step programs because a lot of people get addicted, right? Or even when we're doing ministry on the street, a lot of people on the street are addicted. Not everybody on the street is addicted. That's a fallacy too. I don't want people to get that confused. All people on the street are not addicted, but some are. Just like there are some people living in mansions that are addicted. Don't get the game twisted. There are people living in huge, squalor, and they're addicted. So don't get that. I'm a minister. I've seen a lot. So Trust me on that one. But yeah, so as things go, we have to realize that that's what you're doing. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to change your level of consciousness. That's the whole thing. You are trying to change your level of consciousness. And when you do, just put the right things in, because you have to, that's the thing. You have to feed things in to get things out. It's a reciprocal thing. Just like that's why I keep telling everybody to put in your spiritual work. Do your affirmation, do your meditation, do your prayer, do your spiritual work. Because when you do the spiritual work, what you don't realize is when you start going inside of you, you're really doing you, and you're finding out who you are and what you are, and you're finding out what your power is, and then you can release. Once you know what that power is, then you can release that power. That's what I'm trying to tell you. But you have to do the spiritual work. So put it in. And for all of the practitioners and everything, I've been telling everybody, look, a lot of stuff, because we're going through this transition in the ages and stuff, and we don't, because the calendars have been all screwed up and everything, I don't think anybody knows exactly where we are. There's a few people that are close though, but I don't know, because I'm not that great of an astrologer, and I'm just lucky that I have friends that are, and so they talk, we talk about this stuff, but the bottom line is that we are, even through the way that the planets and everything are lining up, and and this, that, and the other thing, we're going through a transition, and we don't know, and really the other thing is we have to realize that the primordial mother, the divine mother, is her world, literally. So we just have to go through and do what we do. But if our consciousness is good, then that keeps us in moral good standing. And that's all we're, as ministers, that's all we want to do. We want to make everybody so that you're peaceful, like peaceful. And the first thing is, and once again, inner peace, self peace, be peaceful, and learn how to be still, and see that, and that's the thing. Everything now is so transactional. Nothing is relational, and that's what I'm trying to get everybody to open up to. It's like, look, we have to become relational, because human beings are relational, and when we can't lose that, and that's another thing that discourages and disparages everybody. It makes everybody, have a different spirit, and that's not a good thing. That's why I keep on stressing to y'all to stay in joy, and be in joy, and talk to each other, and greet each other, and just say hi, wave, whatever you do to contact, to make sure that that you're grounded within spirit, because spirits can be kindred easily. They could be, because we could put, like when you go to a Chris Brown concert, right? Everybody in the building is a Chris Brown fan, kindred spirit in the building, right? Pretty much, and everybody else is getting paid to be there. So, hey, think about it. But yeah, become kindred spirits in joy, and in love, and in cheer, and in happiness, and all the good things. Like I said, there's even scripture that says that. But don't say just say the part that benefits you and benefits our situation. Don't go in there and repeat all that stuff word for word, because what you don't realize is a lot of it is spells, incantations, rituals, all of that kind of stuff at high levels. And y'all been saying it, we've been saying it for 2,000 years. I'm just saying, words are powerful. They can make things change. So let there be light. I love y'all.